We are continuing with our paper. This is the final section, section D. It says, answer any two questions from this section and write your answers in the spaces provided on the question paper. So I'll write my answers here in the spaces provided. Question 13A. A diesel engine undergoes a 4-stroke cycle during its operation. So this is the 4-stroke engine. Describe what happens during the intake stroke of the diesel engine. So you should know that during the intake stroke, the same things are going to happen as in the petrol engine. Piston moves down. You should know that that one is obvious. And then the inlet valve is open. The exhaust valve is closed. Exhaust valve closed. Then you should also know that when the inlet valve is open, air enters in. So inlet valve opens, air enters in. Then you should also know that when air enters in, the volume in the cylinder will increase. Okay, so you can just mention that the volume in the cylinder will increase because as the piston moves down, there will be more volume so that it can take as much air as it can. And then obviously the pressure decreases. All right, so pressure decreases. So you should mention any three of these, but it would be okay if you write more. There is no harm in writing more because if you write more, they will only mark and they'll give you the total marks. There's no harm in writing more. Explain why the diesel engine does not have spark plugs. You remember from the petrol engine that the petrol engine has got spark plugs, but the diesel engine has got injectors. So what happens is the diesel engine has a high compression ratio. It means that this fuel-air mixture will be super compressed that it can ignite by itself, which leads to ignition of the diesel air mixture, since this is a diesel engine. Part F, this one is supposed to be part B. A hand feels warm when placed above an electric heater which is switched on. Describe how the heat reaches the hand. Take note here that heat is not going to move by conduction. Why? Because the surfaces are not in contact. However, it is going to move by radiation as heat travels through heat waves in the space, and then it's also going to travel by convection, because convection is the travel or movement of heat in a fluid, and air is a fluid because it has got particles which can flow, and hence there's going to be convection current set up in the air, but also radiation in the space as heat travels by heat waves. So what will happen here is that heat will travel by convection as air above the heater gains kinetic energy and expands, and then the air will become less dense and rise, and heat will travel by radiation as heat waves through space. To put it in writing, heat travels by radiation through the air. It will also move by convection as air particles above the heater gain kinetic energy and expand. This leads to the air becoming less dense, rising, and the one which is more dense will fall to the ground and it will be heated again, and it will set up a convection current which keeps going up and down and going up and down and up and down until all the heat has been propagated to the hand. Okay, so the hand will pick up that energy, heated particles of air, and that's how the hand will feel hot. Calculate the energy drawn by the electric heater if it is connected to 240 volt main supply and draws a current of 6 amps for 1 minute. The first thing that you have to know here is the formula for calculating the energy. The energy is found by calculating the voltage times current times time. So the voltage you've been given 240 volts times the current is 6 amps times the time in seconds, because we are going to calculate the energy in joules. So 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds, so it's going to be times 60, and then we're going to get 240 times 6 times 60. It will give us 86,400 joules. All right, joules. Okay, let's move on to the next one. A direct current motor is a device which converts electrical energy to kinetic energy. Describe how motion is produced in a DC motor. So by now we should know that the number of marks gives you a hint on the amount of points which you should give. So here we are supposed to write at least 3 points. Okay, so now in a DC motor, you know that there's a current conducting coil, and this current conducting coil has got magnets around it, and the interaction between the current conducting coil, which got its own magnetic field, with the interaction of the magnets around the DC motor is going to cause the coil to move or to have motion. Okay, so let's put that down. So firstly, we're going to note that in a DC motor, a current conducting coil has a magnetic field around it. So if we pass current through a current conducting coil, there's going to be a magnetic field generated, all right? The DC motor also has some permanent magnets. The permanent magnets of the DC motor also have a magnetic field or magnetic field. So what will happen now is the interaction of the two magnetic fields, interaction between the two magnetic fields, because the space is limited between the two magnetic fields, causes the coil to move or to rotate. So this is how this happens, all right? So there's a current conducting coil which has got a magnetic field around it, and then when you put that current conducting coil into the magnetic field of the permanent magnets of the DC motor, there's going to be an interaction between the two magnetic fields which are going to cause the coil to move. Part 2, state any 2 factors that would affect the motion of a DC motor. This would be affected by the strength of the magnets. If the magnets are strong, then it means that the motion is also going to be great or big. So strength of magnets, okay? And then the size of the current. If we pass a large current, then it means that there's also going to be a strong turning force. Size of current, or you can write magnitude of current if you want. And then number of turns of coil. Coil, okay? The more the number of turns, the more the size of the motion. State what would happen if the DC power supply is replaced by alternating current. Remember that the DC supply gives energy moving in one direction. So if we replace by current that it keeps alternating or changing, it means that there will not be any movement, because one time it is going in one direction, the next moment it changes. So automatically there's going to be no motion or rotation will happen. No motion or rotation will occur. Okay, let's move on to the next one. State any 3 precautions taken against lightning. So you know that lightning is a problem, especially during the rainy season. You must know what to do during a lightning storm. The first one, which is most obvious, avoid contact with metal objects. Obviously this one is definitely, because lightning, since it is electricity, it is going to be conducted through metals, so you better avoid metallic objects. The second one is avoid contact with water. All right, the next one is you should avoid being under tall objects, okay, e.g. trees, right? Because, for example, if the lightning strikes the tree, then it means that you are also going to be hit. And also avoid being the tallest object. If you are the tallest object, the lightning will hit you, so try to avoid that as much as you can. However, I want to also note that there are some myths which people have. It is not true that the color of your clothes will make you a subject for lightning or put you at greater risk. It is a myth that wearing red colors or white colors will put you at risk of being hit by lightning. It is not correct. Okay. Name a device which can be used to determine whether or not a glass rod is charged. You use the gold leaf electroscope. Gold leaf electroscope. Okay. So the gold leaf electroscope will respond by pushing the leaf out. All right. That's how it works. The last question, question 15, shows a 3-pin plug. You can see here that there's a fuse, so you should know that the wire which is connected to the fuse is the live. Then the one in the middle here, which is long, which is green and yellow, obviously, it is the earth. And then the other one connected to the other side is the neutral. Okay. State which of the labeled wires is the live wire. So B is earth. This one should be C. This one should be C, not B. C. And this is A. So the one which is the live wire is C. Just mention C here, because you always know that the wire connected to the fuse is the live wire. The next question says, state which colors of wire are A and C. So A, because it is the neutral, it is always blue. And then C, because it is the live, it is always brown. All right. And then the other one is been given, the earth is green and yellow. State any one advantage and any one disadvantage of using photovoltaic cells as a source of electricity. The obvious advantage is that they are renewable. Okay. And also that the energy is clean energy. It is a clean energy source because it does not produce pollution, and there is a relatively low cost attached to it. However, the disadvantage is that they produce low voltage. So it means that you need to connect many cells to produce enough power. If you use one cell, it's not enough. Low voltage, therefore needs many cells. Okay, many cells. You can also talk about the fact that it only works in high light intensity. So if it is raining, apparently you cannot have enough solar energy. Explain how photovoltaic cells are used as a source of electrical power for appliances which use both alternating current and direct current. Firstly, you should know that the number of marks suggests the number of points which you are supposed to put. So they convert light or solar energy. You can just put solar energy to electrical energy. Which is stored in batteries. In a battery. Then the next thing is that they generate direct current. They generate DC current or direct current, and use inverters to convert DC to AC, and use inverter to transform or to connect or to change, to transform DC direct current to AC. If the appliances are using direct current, then no problem, but if they need to use AC, then you need to use an inverter. State one use of electricity in the home: lighting, powering electrical appliances. Powering electrical appliances, e.g. stove, okay, or TV or radio, whatever it is, or your fan. This marks the end of our paper. In the meantime, you can watch this other paper to continue with your revision. Do not miss any of our posts so that you can ace your June and November IGCSE and O-level examinations. All the best.